Hi, K-pop lovers. Welcome back to our channel. 7 grown men. 7 superstars. And on one quiet afternoon in September 2023, they all signed a piece of paper that changed everything. Not because their company forced them. Not because of money. But because of something so deeply human, it will make you question everything you think you know about BTS. Stay with me until the very end, because the real reason is something nobody is talking about. And I promise you, it will hit different. But before we go any further, if you're new here, welcome to the family. Please hit that like button right now, share this video to every army you know, drop a comment below telling me your favorite BTS moment of all time, and smash that subscribe button with notifications on, because this is exactly the kind of deep, emotional, fact-based content we make here. Now, let's go. Imagine being at the absolute top of the world. Stadium tours selling out in minutes. Your songs hitting #1 on the Billboard charts. Tens of millions of fans crying just because you show up on their screen. And then, you have to leave. Not because you want to, but because your country needs you. That's exactly what happened to BTS in 2022. And in the middle of all that uncertainty, in the middle of the one question nobody dared ask out loud, will BTS ever come back? 7 people made a decision that rewrote the history of K-pop forever. In September 2023, HYBE and Big Hit Music officially announced that all 7 BTS members, RM, Jin, Suga, J-Hope, Jimin, V, and Jungkook, had renewed their exclusive contracts, and would be continuing their work together on future releases starting from 2025. Rolling Stone. But this was not just any business announcement. As a gesture of gratitude to BTS and their fans, Big Hit Music decided to donate 1 billion Korean won to the Korean Committee for UNICEF. Record of the day: 1 billion won. For ARMY. For the world. Think about that for a second. They didn't just sign a contract, they gave back to the world at the same time. But here's the question that nobody is truly answering. Why? Why would 7 men, each of them already proven, already brilliant, already capable of standing completely on their own, choose to stay together? And not just stay together, but commit to each other again, fully, completely, for years to come? The answer lives in a series of very private moments. In conversations between them that were never broadcast. In tears that fell not on stage, but behind closed doors. And today, we're going to open that door. Jin was the first to enlist in December 2022, followed by J-Hope in April 2023. RM, Jimin, V, and Jungkook enlisted later that December. All served 18 months of active military duty. Due to a previous shoulder injury, Suga served as a public service worker, a role that requires a longer term of 21 months, and was the last to be discharged in June 2025. Jiwon's nearly 3 years apart. 3 years without a shared stage. 3 years without hearing each other's voices every single day. 4 people who had lived and breathed together since they were teenagers. This wasn't a vacation. This was the biggest test of their lives. And here is where the magic happens. Because while the world was asking, will they come back, the members themselves were going through something far more profound. They were each discovering who they were without the other 6. And what they found, what each of them found, was that the person they became during that time always pointed back to the same place. Back to each other. J-Hope said it best: in order to make music as a team in a healthy way, as each of us are making their own music, we each go through personal growth and growing pains that come with it. We learn many things. And then when we reunite after doing our own things, these experiences will fill us with new strength and energy. Rolling Stone. He didn't go away to escape BTS. He went away to bring more of himself back to BTS. And every single member felt the same way. RM said something even more revealing. In a Q&A about his solo documentary, RM shared why he believed his solo projects would directly benefit BTS's eventual reunion. I believe that the experience of being able to be completely free and honest will have a good influence on our team when BTS transitions to the next chapter. I believe that everything happens for a reason, and that those events are bound to have a good influence when we come back together. Billboard noticed what he said. He didn't say if we come back together. He said when. Because for RM, for all of them, there was never really a question. The only question was how they would come back, not whether. Now I want you to understand something. Each of these men had every reason in the world to walk a different path. Jimin became the first Korean solo artist to reach #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. Jungkook released 7 and it exploded across the globe. J-Hope brought down stadiums on his solo world tour. Jin, sweet, charismatic Jin, came back from the military and immediately proved he could hold an entire audience on his own. They didn't need each other to survive in this industry. But they chose each other anyway. And that choice, that is what made them cry. Jin said in a concert film, "Performing without my members? Not in my wildest dreams. I think I was nervous." He explained that a performance isn't complete without ARMY, describing the fanbase as the reason he performs, adding, "It's the roar of the crowd that keeps me going." Rolling Stone. But what he didn't say out loud, what you could feel in every word, was that a performance is also not complete without his 6 brothers standing beside him. Because in a world where the music industry is cold and competitive and unforgiving, choosing not to walk alone when you already know you could survive on your own, that is the purest form of love there is. That is the moment a group of artists becomes a family. And families don't sign contracts. They make promises. On the first day of July 2025, ARMY finally got to see all 7 BTS members together for the first time in what felt like forever. RM, Jin, Suga, J-Hope, Jimin, V, and Jungkook appearing side by side in a Weverse livestream to share their plans for the future. Billboard. And what happened in that room, the energy, the laughter, the unfiltered joy, told the whole story without a single word needing to be explained. J-Hope, who had been carefully maintaining his public image during his solo era, immediately dissolved back into the infectious, clapping, laughing Hobie that fans had always known. They were unfiltered. They were laughing. They were healing each other in real time. And as Jimin simply said, "So happy that we are together." Gulf News. 5 words. That's all it took. 5 words that carried the weight of 3 years of separation, of solo albums, of military mornings, of late nights missing each other, all of it dissolving in one sentence. In a handwritten note to their fans, each member left a message. RM wrote, "We've waited more earnestly than anyone else." Jin wrote, "Thank you so much for waiting." Suga wrote, "Let's have fun together this year too. I love you." J-Hope wrote, "What we thought of has finally become reality." Jimin wrote, "The year we meet has come." V wrote, "In 2026, we'll make even more good memories, so look forward to it." And Jungkook wrote, "We miss you. Please take care of us this year too. Live for live music." 7 messages. 7 hearts. 1 decision. Read those words again and tell me that's a business arrangement. That's not a contract. That's a vow. And when they came back, they didn't just come back. They came back louder, bigger, and more themselves than ever before. The members relocated to Los Angeles, where they shared a house for 2 months, the first time the group had been in one place since 2019. RM told GQ they kept a rigid schedule. "We'd do 6 days a week, like businessmen." Mornings were for physical training. After lunch at home, they'd head to the studio and write and record with rotating teams of collaborators until the evening. "It felt like being trainees again," he said, except this time they arrived with years of stadium tours and billions of streams behind them. Rolling Stone. Trainees again. 7 men who have performed for the United Nations, topped every chart on the planet, sold out stadiums on every continent, and they went back to basics. Together. Because that's who they are. Their new album was named Arirang, after a centuries-old Korean folk song. Their label's statement said, "Transcending time and generations, the song has long been associated with emotions of connection, distance, and reunion." Rolling Stone connection. Distance. Reunion. They didn't just pick a name for an album. They wrote their own autobiography in a single word. The Arirang World Tour kicked off on April 9, 2026, in Goyang, South Korea, spanning more than 85 dates across 34 cities in 23 countries, marking the largest world tour ever mounted by any act from South Korea. Wikipedia tickets for shows in South Korea, North America, and Europe sold out within hours of going on sale. This world tour hours. Not days. Hours. Because ARMY had been waiting, and they were ready. So now you know the facts. But let me tell you what the facts actually mean. BTS did not renew their contracts because they had to. They renewed because in the quiet, honest space between their solo chapters, each of them looked inward, and found the other six. Every song RM wrote alone made him want to write one with his members. Every stage Jungkook owned by himself reminded him of the stages that felt even bigger with 6 people beside him. Every crowd J-Hope moved alone made him imagine how much louder it would be when BTS moved them together. That is the emotional reason. Not a single dramatic moment. Not one big conversation. But 7 separate journeys, all leading home. To each other. That is why they cried making this decision. Because they realized they had never really been apart. Not where it mattered. And choosing to make that official, choosing to say, yes, this is still us, this is still who we are, after everything they had been through, after all the pressure and the separations and the uncertainty, that kind of choice makes even the strongest people cry. BTS, Chapter 3 has only just begun. And wherever it takes them, one thing is clear. These 7 men have already proven that the strongest force in the music industry isn't talent, or fame, or record-breaking numbers. It's the decision to stay together. No matter what. If this video moved you even a little, please press like right now. It takes 1 second and it means everything for this channel. Share this video with every ARMY in your life, let them feel this too. Tell me in the comments, which BTS moment hit you the hardest? The military farewell? The July 1st reunion livestream? Or something else entirely? I want to know. And if you haven't yet, hit subscribe and turn on notifications, because we're just getting started and you do not want to miss what's coming next. Borahi, ARMY. Purple Heart until next time. Annyeong.